Shall we get started?
Yes, let's get the fuck on with it.
Hello Internet, I'm Firebolt.
And I am the Orbiter.
Again in a sing-song mood.
Yeah, I've got to start off in a positive frame of mind, haven't I?
That's going to go downhill quickly.
Hella quickly. You've been playing too much Life is Strange.
I didn't say hella quickly.
You did.
I said that's going to go down quickly.
You said hella. You did. I'm going to play it back.
You'll find that I know what I said.
Okay, well, we'll see.
And this is being recorded, literally, so you can... Well,
indeed.
I didn't.
We'll see.
Your ears just don't work. You've been playing up too much Life is Strange.
Intro. We're gonna just I'll quickly mention that we're probably going to be taking the background music off the news rundown section, aren't we? Or actually off the main sections of each thing, because
I found the loop getting quite great.
It's a pain in the arse,
one.
And trying to find something appropriate and not repetitive is kind of just you got to put up with those.
Your points are going to be undermined by the ragtime backing music that I'm putting on a lot of stuff.
This doesn't mean you're going to be making serious points, does it?
Sometimes this is more serious compared to Breaking Bollocks.
Is it? I thought this was the light-hearted bit.
Well, you get all
Maybe
philosophical and shit on Breaking Bollocks.
Yeah, that's true. I try not to.
No, you don't.
Well, I intend not to, but it doesn't last very long. Okay.
Anyway, shall we get on with the news rundown?
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, before we actually begin, because this doesn't really fit into any...
Is this back on the intro again now?
Sort of. This doesn't really fit into any of our categories, and I just want to quickly mention it. It's like 40 or 30 days until Brexit.
Something like that, yeah. 40.
What's your sweepstakes for what's going to happen?
Oh, fuck knows.
It's just...
I don't know. I'll tell you what, though. If I had the money, well, we have got the time, I suppose. I'd be down to London to take part in the march on the 23rd. But
that's actually the day of one of my concerts, though, so...
Is it?
Yeah.
I had a look at my calendar and I didn't think I had anything on that day.
I swear it is. It might be too.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. I do have something on that day.
You just don't care about me.
That's right.
Thank you.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, so the government's just crying in a hole, but we'll get into that in the news rundown probably.
Why are we doing this in the intro?
Because it's more general. There's not really been any news articles saying that specifically.
News rundown.
At least not in the ones I've seen. Yeah, okay, stop.
Okay, so for the news rundown, I'm kind of...
No.
Hang on a minute, I just started the section. No.
I'm just explaining what it actually is, if anyone's not actually listened to a Bollocks report before. It's just us going for the news.
You so undermine me.
It's just us running down the news. It's very obvious, isn't it? Okay, what was your thing?
Does it matter?
Yes.
Okay, I was just going to say, I mean, I've put down two things, but they were quite early on in the fortnight, and one of them feels really old already.
This was going to be a segment originally.
I'm thinking I would kind of like to look at some more funny stuff as well as serious stuff. Yeah. So anyway, the first thing, should we do mine first? Because
okay, sure.
So the Liam Neeson racism row seems like fucking ages ago now, but it did actually happen since the last Bollocks report.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Tim Minchin song, 50 Minutes of Shame, feels very apt.
Yeah, brilliant song. Go and have a listen. He's back out on tour soon, very soon.
My thoughts on it were, obviously, he shouldn't have really been thinking that, but there was no prompt for him to actually say that, so I think it was quite brave of him. And if we have this sort of atmosphere of outrage for someone even admitting that in the past they felt like that and being very open about the fact that they're ashamed of that, then...
Yeah, he said he was ashamed about it, and then people were up in arms. It's like, sort of, what, you think he shouldn't have been ashamed of it?
Yeah.
Or you think he should have pretended that he never felt that way?
I have.
Time people started owning their feelings.
Yeah, I don't think he
and
should
admitting
quite
it.
be like awarded a medal. As
No,
I think
John
it was John
Barnes
Barnes
was-
said,
yeah.
but I don't think
But I'm
there
more
should be
on
this
his
level
side
of
than on-
outrage. It should just be sort of like, yeah, people should probably do that more. And now we've got this whole thing about people wanting him to stop working or boycotting his films because he said something about prompt. It would have been worse if, because tons of people admit this stuff after some shady shit's been found about their past. I think there was a congressman not long ago that admitted that there was a photo of him in a yearbook wearing blackface, and it's like, oh no, it's actually a different photo. And it's like, wow, okay, that's a bit much, but yeah.
So for my other one, before we get onto the long list of other things that we've got, it's a bit of a funny. I just thought it was really good. The Wolves of Odin. Do you know who the Wolves of Odin are?
No idea.
The Wolves of Odin are...
Oh, the Wolves of Odin. No,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
a Canadian, I believe, far-right group. Oh, fucking hell, it's gone.
Oh, was it? Oh, you told me about this. They'd forgotten to register. I think was it .com or .co.uk?
.ca.
Yeah, they'd forgotten to register that actual web address.
Oh, here we go.
So-
Anti-fascist news. Groups claiming attendance include Pegida, Soldiers of Odin, Wolves of Odin. They're basically a racist agenda, far-right group. Oh,
So
two main factions turned against you. They were the Soldiers of Odin and the Wolves of Odin. But anyway, the story that I found funny was that a guy noticed they haven't got the website address and decided to buy it and turn it into a furry fetish website. Guy buys web domain of far-right group Wolves of Odin and turns it into furry fetish site. Which I thought was good. Semi-naked anthropomorphic wolves.
you thought they were good. Okay.
No, I thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you fancy that one in the middle, surely?
No.
Is that? No. Okay.
Stop looking at furry porn.
Sorry.
That's the
Let's
sound
look
that
at
the
your
pigs
list.
make. Well, they're not really furry, are they? No. Anyway, you chortled, so I was like,
There must be
that's what
some.
pigs make.
There must be some furries that dress up as Piglet.
Yeah, but it's not furry then.
No, but the furries just like dressing up as.
I watched a College Humor video about Tumblr removing porn, and one of the jokes in it was about furries, and they said dragons call themselves scalies.
Piglet's not a dragon.
Yeah, but it makes a sort of trend
Yeah.
that they call themselves something different if they're not actually furry.
Okay, let's
I
go.
don't really care either way. Anyway, on to the big list of important shit.
I'm going to get so distracted when we get to number 2 on this list. Start with number 1 though.
Millions of Indians trek to Ganges and Modi chases down their vote. Basically, this is the first time that this festival, I think it happens every 6 years, has been, first time in a while at least, has been before a presidential election, so he's kind of seasoned on that.
Right.
By unofficially putting up loads of posters about their achievements in this government.
Right.
Next.
Is that Narendra Modi?
Yeah.
That's something to do with Nigeria, isn't it?
No. India.
India. Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Wait, what's the Nigeria? Sorry. Anyway, I know the second thing here, the Google rolling out AR navigation for Google Maps. On what?
I don't know.
AR navigation. Because that's well, Google Maps kind of already is AR navigation on, like, if you use the sat nav thing.
Don't know. Maybe it's weird. Maybe they have a bit like when we were on holiday, we got a Camaro as a rental because they'd made a mistake. If it was like, because you said that there were things on the windshield.
Oh yeah, heads up display. Yeah, that was ace.
I couldn't see it because you have to be like sitting in the right position. But
Yeah. It's actually embedded in the dashboard upside down and back to front, so that if you're sat in the driver's seat, you can see the reflection of certain information in the windscreen as you're driving, but you can still see through it safely as well.
not sure it would be that type of thing, or maybe using Google Glass.
Well, this
That
was what
kind of
I was going to
block,
get distracted by, but I might talk to you about that off air.
Okay.
Um,
Bots will listen out for suicidal patients.
that's got to be something social media-esque, hasn't it?
I think it's, I don't know. It's meant to be the Alexa style bots,
Oh, right, okay.
and they'll alert the NHS for early warning signs of suicidal patients.
Is that something that...
It's kind of weird because on the one hand I'm like, that's very invasive, but on the other hand it's like, well, it's
it's a weird one, that, isn't it? Because you'd think like, well, yeah... first thing I thought was, is it a feature that you would have the choice to disable? But
I don't think so.
But then that kind of defeats the object of the thing, doesn't it?
I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that one.
No. Interesting, though. Nicola Sturgeon claims Scotland will be independent in 5 years. I wouldn't be at all surprised.
I would be surprised if there was a referendum in 5 years.
Within 5 years?
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but at the same time, well...
I think there would be some point in the next decade.
I'm not sure, because I heard an argument last night that I hadn't thought of. I actually wouldn't mind another Scottish independence referendum, but somebody I was speaking to last night mentioned that there's no appetite for it because of the fucking nightmare that's happening with the Brexit issue.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that nobody will want to go through that again. If there's a yes vote and we want out, Scotland would effectively be having to go through all of that with the UK. That we're going through with Europe.
So, yeah.
Which I hadn't really considered, but at the same time, I fucking hate the politics of England and Westminster at the moment. So
yeah, they're all kind of just shit. But I quite like the SNP apart from that independence thing. And now I'm not really sure on the independence thing, so generally I'm pretty alright with the SNP, even if a lot of people grumble at them for that.
Well, I mean, no, I don't. Most politicians have got something you can grumble at them about, but out of all of them that are kind of in any position of power at the moment, Nicola Sturgeon's probably the most sensible looking and sounding one of the lot of them.
Yeah, she's kind of a badass in my eyes.
I actually think Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales, and possibly London as well, should just kick England out of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, but Wales also voted for Brexit, so...
Did they?
Yeah. Although now they're not really wanting it.
Anyway,
yeah. Trump preemptively blames Democrats for a second government shutdown.
he's avoided that now, hasn't he?
Yeah, this was before that happened, though, so... He blamed them for it before he even did a second government shutdown, which hasn't actually happened.
Because,
well, we'll get into that
later.
Yeah.
Okay. FDA explores using blockchain to track drug supplies. How does that work?
It's for legal drugs.
Oh, right, okay. Because
like
I thought the whole point of blockchain, because they use that in cryptocurrencies, don't they? I thought the whole point was that it was totally anonymous.
I don't know. I don't entirely understand how blockchain works. I don't think a huge amount of people do.
I know it's something to do with. I know cryptocurrency has something to do with blockchain.
Yeah, it's wider than that though.
Yeah. So next,
UK signs Swiss post-Brexit deal. Finally, like 40 days before we're going to go out.
We can't have signed any deals. We're not allowed to while we're in the EU. That's the whole point, that we can't do any negotiating for any of these trade deals outside of the EU while we're a member of the EU.
We can. Otherwise it would be...
Only in verbally. We can't actually... It's that was one of the reasons that it was...
Well, we signed, I think, a deal with Japan as well. Oh no, were they saying that no one wanted to sign deals with them? I can't remember.
I don't know, but one of the arguments being put forward against earlier on in the sort of 2-year period that we've had, it was that as a member of the EU, you can't negotiate trade deals with outside countries.
The idea is that these would come into effect afterwards, not now.
Yeah.
So we haven't got that trade deal right now, but it is signed so that we will have it as soon as Brexit happens. There's tons of other treaties.
Bloomberg's saying that I don't see how they can possibly have. It must be just a vague first initial idea of it, because we've got no idea
we've
what they
signed it.
Yeah, but we can't. It can't. Based on what? We don't know what position we're going to be in 2 months' time.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Post-Brexit.
We have signed a Swiss post-Brexit deal.
Well, it's probably not worth the paper it's written on then, because we don't know if we're going to be in a customs union. We don't know if we're going to be in Europe, out of Europe, in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, which is why I think a lot of other countries are unwilling to make those sort of deals.
Yeah,
at current, but I don't know why.
UK to deploy drone swarm squadrons on enemies. Hey, what, like bees?
I guess it's kind of terrifying and dystopian, but
yeah, I was. When I said ace, I was being. What do you call it?
It sounds sort of cool then, but like when you
in
actually
a computer game,
yeah, that sort of thing. Iraqi Christians fear returning home due to. Now, don't laugh at this.
Shiite.
Yeah, it looks like shite from here because I can only even see the one eye because my eyes are slightly wonky. Shiite militia. Which I think is a sort of sect.
Returning home from where?
I'm assuming their places of work.
All right, okay. Which can't the Shiite militia get them at work?
Well, it's sort of like they're returning later, so it's maybe not in broad daylight.
Yeah.
When they're returning, so they might be attacked whilst it's dark.
One thing, I suppose it does make sense. I hadn't really considered it, but I'm actually surprised about the fact that there are Iraqi Christians. I can imagine there being Christians who live in Iraq, but
yeah, I imagine it's sort of a similar thing to British Muslims.
Yeah.
In terms of demographics,
Brexit spurs firms into EU investment. Oh, great! That sounds ace. So, does this mean British firms are investing in EU stuff?
Well, maybe not British firms, but ones that have had bases that had been investing in Britain have decided to switch to the EU. Maduro's aides hunting for emergency escape route in Venezuela. I'm not sure if that's a literal escape route or more of a diplomatic escape. Next.
MP who voted down female genital mutilation bill sees office defaced with toy dinosaurs. What? I read that as defecated, but no, defaced with toy dinosaurs.
I'm guessing that's to make the point that he's a dinosaur.
Right, okay. But how do you deface someone's office with toy dinosaurs? I kind of want to see that. I don't agree with him voting down this bill, but
also, there's a point to be brought up that circumcision's male genital mutilation. So.
Yeah, I do recognise that there is some reasoning in his. It's not just that he agrees with female genital mutilation; he doesn't. But his point, I think, was that it has to be debated and the procedure gone through in a particular way to make it more.
Despite the fact
solid.
That he has put, I think, several private motions through. One of them on the habitats for bats. So
yeah,
it's
but
not
as you
really
say,
about principle.
I would like to live in a country where the word female isn't a necessary part of that sentence. Genital mutilation is genital mutilation. End of.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's probably medically more dangerous for females, but that doesn't mean that it's okay for males.
Yeah, there's very little anaesthetic in that as well.
So, who's next?
Me. In meeting on the Middle East, Poland woos Trump but risks its relations with other allies.
Poland.
Yeah, they've recently gotten a far-right government in, which unofficially supports white nationalism, which is almost depressing.
This is. I've been watching documentaries about the 80s, and it amazes me how quickly the world forgets everything.
Yeah,
and for Poland
was looking like it was going to become a sort of new beacon of progressivism, but it's just sort of last election. I think
Poland
they've
was
really taken a dark turn.
Poland was where it all the movement that brought about the downfall of the Iron Curtain basically came about, and now
up until I think maybe even 2015, it's been very progressive and getting better and better, and now it's taken a
dark turn.
Yeah.
Facebook expanding fact-checking ahead of Indian election.
I think there was a problem with a bunch of... because it works quite differently, I think, in Pakistan and India, where there's a very different relationship to Facebook, where a lot of people have that as their main news source. I know quite a few people here do as well. It's just less of a widespread issue.
We should speed up a bit. Where are we? Google wants to bring encryption to all Android devices with Adiantum. What's Adiantum?
It's a new thing they're launching. This includes software, I think. This includes older models as well.
It's not a new version of the operating system, is it? Or
I don't know.
Okay.
But I think it's an automatic thing, and it's going to be brought to older Android devices as well. So we don't have outdated encryptions yet. Economic growth, slowest since 2012. That's hardly surprising.
Sherlock. May rules out backing Corbyn's customs union deal offer.
Again, that's hardly surprising.
She just keeps coming back with the same deal.
I'm not sure how he can offer a new deal because he hasn't actually been negotiating.
No, but it makes me laugh what she's been doing. She's come along with plan A. We don't like it. Come along with plan B. Actually, that's plan A, but it's got a hat on.
It's basically just them running at a brick wall. Government officials admit they will miss their target for renegotiating trade deals involving the EU. That's hardly surprising, given our last 2 years of negotiations.
Oh, for renegotiating trade deals? Is this, regardless of, this is not to do with Brexit, is it?
This is to do with Brexit.
Oh, right, okay. I was going to say, because if we were potentially going to stay in, then we wouldn't need to renegotiate any trade deals, would we?
Well, they're treating it as if we're not going to stay in because there's no plans of in place to stay in. Like there's like people believe that's going to happen, but there's no official thing saying that that's going to happen. So they're just
relating back to what you were saying in the intro, taking bets and that. Unfortunately, I kind of believe that we're going to go along the same way that a lot of other people I've spoken to have said. Is there's going to be an extension? I don't want there to be, but
I think there's going to be a no deal. Because I don't think the EU will agree to extend it because they don't want to renegotiate, and that's what it would be for.
Yeah. Survey shows people around the world feel more threatened by the US than Russia or China. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's just it. The US generally is more active military.
I noticed that one's in the Washington Post. Maybe that's more of more news to the Americans than it is to us.
They're sort of like, wow, we're so threatening. It's like, yeah, you're practically the world police.
Yeah.
It's like looking at that 80s documentary. I had no idea that they'd gone to war with Grenada in the 80s.
Grenada?
I call it Grenada because...
That's Grenada television. That doesn't exist anymore.
Because apparently they're communists at some point.
Yeah, see, when countries go to war, it seems to do their administration good. Like they get points for some reason. Like when Thatcher went into the Falklands, she got
the thing in Lebanon didn't seem to do the US much good.
That's true. Okay, Trump.
this is the thing about second government shutdown.
Are we looking at that in the perspectives?
Yeah, but say it now.
Okay. What?
Say the item.
Oh, Trump declares national emergency over border wall. I thought it was yours.
No. Oh, maybe. Sorry. Yeah, so that's... yeah, that's shit.
This next one's interesting. No deal Brexit could open up a path to Irish unity. It's interesting that that's in the New York Times, because I just today read that it was possible that the US could back the breakup of the UK basically by advocating for Irish unity. Like if Trump comes out in support of Irish unity, that's basically supporting.
It's interesting that Americans would probably look at it more that way.
Well, they've always seen. I mean, back when the IRA were more active as a military group, they, as a terrorist group here, they were kind of supported in America, weren't they? They were kind of a band of freedom fighters, if you like.
I guess in America's history, that's more sort of.
But we had a thing here where people were boycotting McDonald's because I don't know if it was true or not, but it was rumoured that that a penny in every pound you spent at McDonald's went directly to the IRA because they were being supported.
Because they were quite. I think they played quite a big role in the potato famine.
Who?
America, because
did they eat all the potatoes?
No, but I think some ships got sunk that were American ships. I'm not sure.
No, this next one doesn't surprise me at all. Another one. It's another no shit Sherlock.
Yeah, a hotel struggling to recruit EU staff.
I wonder why.
I wonder if they're like looking for a way to flee. Oh, by the
Seriously,
way,
would you come here for a job if you were from Europe now?
Yeah, if you are an EU citizen, I would just make sure that you are comfortable that you will be able to stay in the UK if you want to, because we don't know what's going to happen in the end. We're not sure if that will be guaranteed. So just like double check that everything's all right.
I saw one of the performing arts things that I'm a member of. Somebody asking the question, do they know, asking for a friend, but they've got a friend who's on the lighting crew for a show that's on in Europe on the 30th of March. Are they going to be able to do the job? It's like, we don't know.
Facebook exposed US agents to spies. Not entirely sure how, but...
Not very good spies then, were they, if they were exposed on Facebook?
No, the US agents were.
Yeah. But, I mean... Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I guess, I mean, I don't know why you would use Facebook messaging if you were a US agent. I guess that
is this a new one? Border towns legally challenging Trump's national emergency declaration? Because he's only done that in the last couple of days, hasn't he?
Yeah.
National emergency.
Yeah, that's what news is.
I know, I didn't realise that you put so much in new today, that's all.
Yeah, I had like 2 checks of it and one of them was yesterday.
Right, okay.
Pakistan suspected of involvement in suicide attack on Indian convoy in Kashmir. Kashmir is a disputed territory between India and Pakistan, so that's quite a big deal.
Yeah, and it's quite a worry because Pakistan and India both have nuclear weapons, so we don't want them to...
I don't think they're going to declare nuclear war, but,
no, but you never want
tense.
2 neighbouring nuclear powers to fall out, particularly. It's not.
It's a nuclear pun.
Mars. Now this is the saddest piece of news. Saddest piece of news of the week.
Yeah.
Although in some ways it's kind of happy as well.
Yeah.
Mars rover sends out its final message, and to paraphrase NASA, its final message was, "My battery is running low and it's getting dark."
It's kind of depressing. But I think NASA sent back its final sort of
countdown.
Receivement. How do you say? I don't know.
Instruction.
Kind of. But the final thing that it received was some song, I think.
Daisy, Daisy. No?
I don't know.
But yeah, my response to that was that I have no doubt that if we do manage, well, with any luck, at some point in the future, that Mars rover will have pride of place in a museum on Mars.
Mm. That's if we last that long. I mean, who knows? Aliens might find it eventually. Like, oh, this is interesting.
Where did this come from? It's that barren, desolate.
Just like that would be an interesting
radiated
episode of Alien Star Trek, I guess, but in the real world. Anyway,
yeah.
Maduro uses UN position. If you don't know, Maduro is the Venezuelan president. Uses UN position as diplomatic lifeline because he's still officially the Venezuelan president, even though a lot of Western powers have recognized, I think it's Guaido, as the interim president. He still holds a place in the UN, so he's kind of using that to escape diplomatic problems, I guess.
Migrants have trauma after failing to cross the English Channel.
That's hardly surprising. But still, we'll just say, oh, it's a crisis. Like, no, these are refugees.
I'm presuming that's like sort of PTSD style kind of, like proper trauma, medical trauma, rather than just like sort of, oh God, I'm traumatized. But actual.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine they'd have trauma from the Mediterranean. But
probably traumatized already just by the fact that they're having to flee their own country and
they've probably
Europe.
seen a lot of shit in a war zone.
If you've managed to cross half a continent.
Yeah. Anyway, in Eastern Europe, US officials talk deals but fail to mention the erosion of democracy.
Well, they're, as we've noticed before on the statistics, they're a flawed democracy anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean erosion of democracy in places like Hungary and Poland, which are now having more authoritarian governments.
Hospital admissions for eating disorders surged to highest in 8 years.
Wonder why that would be.
Is that... I suppose that covers both ends of the spectrum, doesn't it? Obesity and starvation.
I guess.
Or like, bulimia and anorexia.
Yeah.
Just basically it's stress-related shit.
Defense Secretary Gavin Williamson fights with Russian ministers over use of mercenaries. I'm not sure if this was over that Novichok thing.
I don't know, but I've seen his name in the news in the last couple of weeks and thought, he sounds like a knob.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was the one that, or he's the replacement for the one that got done in because he touched a reporter's leg whilst having a dinner meeting with her.
As you do. May issues plea to party you to unite over Brexit. Yeah, good luck with that, love.
Plans announced to use Space Harpoon to clear space junk.
Space Harpoon?
Yeah.
You're better off with some kind of net.
I don't think that would be... Well, the net would probably break. That's the only thing. Record number of NHS... you can say that one because it's your one anyway.
NHS staff. Record number of NHS staff quit over long hours. Well, they've always had long hours, but are we sure that's why they're quitting?
Well, I imagine it's like a sort of thing.
Maybe they've got longer hours because of. I mean, they're completely understaffed at the moment because of
Brexit and underfunding.
Yeah.
Analysts say rift between Europe and Trump has become open and angry at security conference.
Great.
That's fun. I noticed that it does say between Europe and Trump and not Europe and America, so that there's at least some hope there.
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay. Next section. Yes. Bollocking. Ross Thompson. MP for Aberdeen South. Now, this is kind of a double bollocking. I don't know whether or not this was actually ended up in anything happening, but he was led away by police from the House of Commons bar after reports of sexual touching. It's
The bar in the House of Commons is the only bar that's allowed to be open for 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's disturbing.
I didn't know it was called the Strangers Bar, though.
That's the Houses of Parliament are quite weird.
3 men, including the 31-year-old Aberdeen South MP, were said to have been involved before officers were alerted. Palace of Westminster, following a report of sexual touching. Officers attended, spoke to the parties involved. No formal allegations were made and no arrests were made. But they have no further comment to make at this stage. But the thing that I also found interesting was that in April last year, he was branded a disgrace after joking he was channeling his inner dictator while on a visit to Saddam Hussein's former parade ground. These are the people that we voted to represent us.
Seems like a fairly average Conservative.
Yeah. Get him out. Anyway, yeah. You're bollocked. Consider yourself bollocked. You're on report, mate.
I don't get why Scotland's voting.
Fucking hell. You just want to punch him.
Yeah. In the last election, for some reason, Scotland voted a lot more from Conservatives. I think it's because they've got that new head who's a lot more progressive because they're lesbian, I think.
Well, the Scottish Conservatives aren't as bad as the English Conservatives in some ways.
But they're still Conservatives, and they still feed into the main party.
I think some of it was a reaction to the SNP because they didn't want to be dragged into another referendum, and but
there's too many left-wing parties with SNP involved, though.
Yeah,
because Lib Dems are practically speaking left Dem, sure, whatever, left wing. Even though they're more centrist in terms of British politics, they're pretty left wing. Labour is obviously quite left wing.
Oh, here we are. This is what I'm looking for.
And Greens are left wing, and then who's the other one?
I'm going to prepare for the perspectives section.
Don't think there is another one, but you basically got UKIP and Conservatives on one side, and then all the other parties, which kind of sort of agree with each other on quite a few things. So, because of our broken system,
I know we're doing perspectives, and I know we're talking. Shall we move on to perspectives?
Probably.
Okay. Perspectives, media perspectives. I know this section's supposed to be about the national emergency, but just while I'm looking for the perspectives pieces, I have to laugh at the news item that's come up.
The computer anyway, so you don't need to use your phone.
I do. Russian flag appears on Salisbury Cathedral 2 weeks before the Novichok
I saw
attack.
that. I didn't think that was relevant, though.
Okay, fine. Fuck you then.
Well, no, I didn't think it was sort of a big news item. I thought it was just sort of a prank thing.
Yeah.
Because it was labelled as stupid.
They're more fun to talk about than some of the big news items.
Yeah, I guess. It's just kind of insensitive. But both of them survived.
I wonder who put it out there, though. Both of them survived?
Yeah,
Did they?
The Novichok attack, yeah.
Did they? There must have been another one that I...
Well, Russia's done quite a few assassinations over here.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is Perspectives, where we look at an issue and how different news sources have decided to cover it.
So The Guardian is reporting...
I can't remember who Stephen Miller is.
Stephen Miller.
Top advisor. Is he his new, he's the new Attorney General, I think. After Jeff Sessions went sacked, he's the new one. He was involved in a bunch of scams to do with helping inventors with weird things. I can't remember what it was. There was something to do with, I think, jeans that made your hips look bigger. Or pants that made your hips look bigger. It was weird.
Why would you want that? Anyway. Who's
saying,
Schiff?
Well, at least say the fucking article there.
You say it.
Stephen Miller, Trump will protect his national emergency declaration. I'm assuming that's from legal challenges, which are coming about from Democrats and people at the border towns, I think. Because I think legally he can declare a national emergency over anything. It's just a gross abuse of power.
Yeah. CNN report. I don't know who Schiff is either. Trump daring the courts to strike down national emergency. They're portraying it as a standoff between Trump and the courts.
Yeah, it would be weird if this is what he actually gets brought down for, something that like he willingly did out in the open.
What does Alec Baldwin do an impression of Trump or something?
Yeah, he on SNL, which is like one of the leading comedy things in America, this comedy sketch show thing, which has been running for like 30 years or something. He's the guy that they get to do Trump whenever they have a sketch about Trump.
Yeah.
Like they got Melissa McCarthy to do Sean Spicer. If you remember that. And they look so... He was the press secretary during, I think, most of the first year of the Trump presidency.
Well, there's a mixture.
He was very fun.
There's a mixture of articles here, some of which are older than others. Obviously, it was expected because some articles that are saying that he is to declare a national emergency, but he has actually done it now. And California, according to USA Today, Caliph A.G. Becerra definitely will sue. Will sue who? Trump. For what?
Because I'm assuming he's a representative that's near the border.
Yeah.
That
so presumably
legally he shouldn't be allowed to declare a national emergency.
But when you sue, you usually sue for something like, is he saying that his state is likely to lose?
Well, yeah, because a lot of Mexican workers probably come through his constituency.
So it's going to damage. It's going to damage the area in his view. Okay,
so it's about money as well as just trying to get him to stop actually. doing
some of these BBC and Guardian. Well, Guardian's taken the approach that that they're saying, what is a national emergency and does it mean Trump can build his wall? So basically, they're explaining the situation for people who might not know.
I think his base is still going to think that that means that he's won, even though he's got a fifth of what he asked for from Congress. And also a fifth of what he actually needs to build the wall, according to estimates, which is about $25 billion.
The stupid thing was, though, did you hear that thing that the shutdown actually cost them more than it would have cost to build the wall in the first place?
Wow.
It cost the US more. Yeah, I mean, Mitch McConnell's just set a hugely dangerous precedent on national emergencies. Who's Mitch McConnell?
He is the Senate Majority Leader.
Right.
Basically like the Speaker over here.
Yeah.
Although I think they actually have a different Speaker, but basically I think the guy that decides to table motions and stuff, even though they don't really have a more official sort of etiquette to that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of these articles are pretty much saying the same sort of things, really. As things stand, it is declared as national emergency and a few people have threatened legal action, but nothing's kind of proceeded from that yet, has it? Is anyone actually backing him in any of these articles?
I would guess if there's anything on Fox News, they're probably backing him.
Bloomberg say in Trump's world he never loses, but that's an opinion piece. And I think that probably says more about Trump's state of mind.
But he does... I don't know, his base just seems unable to see reality.
CNN have a piece with Nancy Pelosi's reaction.
Nancy Pelosi is essentially the leader of the Democrats.
I like the Guardian's
I have to just basically teach you about American politics.
Yeah.
Because I watched
I like-
a lot of news shows from over there.
I like the Guardian's take on it. Rambling Trump called an emergency in a speech that goes on and on and on. But, I mean, you saying that about the American political system, the fact is you've grown up in a world which is a lot more Americanized than the world I grew up in.
Not sure. I think it's just that I have that information
it is.
more readily available to me.
Yeah, but it's also everything is a lot more Americanized than it was. I mean, I remember the first McDonald's opening in London. I remember my brother coming back from a school trip saying, "Well, we went to this amazing burger restaurant."
Was
McDonald's.
that late?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he went on a
bizarre.
We had our own kind of version of it. It was Wimpy, but that's kind of died out now. But the main difference was with Wimpy, you had plates and cutlery. But I mean, there were a few American TV shows on telly, but it was
yeah, I guess that's
very much more separate.
Because you only had a few TV channels, there was less Americanization thing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I was thinking more in terms of the sort of the Cold War scare, that it would be more Americanized then. Yeah,
but that, I mean, no, that was on the news, but the news was only like 6 and 9 or 10 o'clock. So we didn't have 24-hour news, really. It was just a in the back of your mind thing.
CNN saying why Trump's threat to declare a national emergency freaks out Republicans. Yeah, I'm guessing that's to do with legal challenges. And what happens here if anyone can just declare a national emergency over anything? Because if a Democratic president gets in, then they can declare a national emergency over actual emergencies like climate change, which the Republicans probably don't want.
I'm just looking further down to see if there's anything that's particularly any different. But that it does seem to be fairly across the board that most. Well, if the news outlets aren't criticising, they're talking about other people who are criticising, by the look of it.
Yeah.
So
a bunch of people are also declaring other things national emergencies as well.
Yeah. Interesting. Bustle, whoever they are, telling you how to protest it if you're against it.
But it's worrying now. Because we can have a discussion as well. We don't actually scroll through that.
I know. I'm just trying to wind up because we're nearly up to an hour now.
Yeah, it's worrying though as a sort of constitutional precedent, because I think yes they can, but again it's just such it's like a loophole in their system that for some reason they've given so much power to the president with this thing, where they've not thought to say, well, we actually need to define what counts as a national emergency. But
I like Wired's headline here. Trump's wall won't solve a national emergency. It is one.
Yeah. But it's not even like they have... I mean, there's some drug trade over the borders, but I think he's mainly doing it to get rid of asylum seekers. To deter people crossing who don't want to have to face US detention centres.
Yeah, it's a convenient excuse, isn't it, the war on drugs?
Yeah, well, America's been using that as an excuse for a lot of things over a long time, including things to do with police brutality. But we all know how that's turned out with a disturbing system that is just broken and biased and shit. So it's all very corrupt. And it all started based on actual fear of Mexicans, because I think someone wanted to stir up fear about Mexicans for some reason. and they went, "Oh, look at this heroin." No, I think it was actually the Department of Narcotics or something. This was on Adam and everything. Wanted a new drug because otherwise their funding would get cut.
Yeah.
So people were already afraid of Mexicans. So they were just like, "Oh, look at this Mexican drug, marijuana. It's terrible." It's like, no, it's really not. But now we have this massive problem, which isn't really a problem, but a corrupt system's made it a problem.
Anyway, let us wind up.
Sorry, I'm just worried about the world. It's going in a disturbing direction still. That's not really news, is it?
No.
Anyway, I guess we should, wrap up.
This has been your fortnightly dose of depression.
Jinx.
And on that note,
I've
been the Orbiter.
and this has been the Bollocks for episode 4.